We're home.
Call the meeting to order. This is Park and Recreation Advisory Committee meeting, February 19th, 2018. We have a proper quorum has been determined. We going to sort of go off schedule here for just a little bit before we go into old business. With me being the new kid on the block, I'm going to turn it over to AC. And AC, if you would, could you just introduce me to everyone, let me know their roles?
I can. Starting with my people down here on the end, we got John Ballard. He is my right-hand man since we kind of split maintenance departments off. He's my lead guy. And then we got Julie Wilson, who is the athletic and events coordinator. And then Laura Josie is my administrative assistant. And if you don't know, this is Bob Simon, who has been a longtime member in a Box 100, and Deb Hewen, who's been on the board for a while now, and Mary Jane Skinner, who is a staple in Laverne as well. So we get help from all of them. So that's the group for now.
All righty. Okay, we're going to go on with the old business, daddy-daughter dance.
Well, if y'all remember, a couple Saturdays ago when we had this, it was pouring out. I mean, it was just pouring, and we still had. I'm gonna guesstimate over 300 people there.
Really?
It was crazy. And we had it at the Roy Waldron Gymnasium. It was packed. It was a lot to clean up when we got done too, but it was packed. I'd say it was, and I want to say every year it gets more successful. Don't you think, Julie?
Absolutely.
I mean, it just gets bigger and bigger. So. We're going to have to talk to Laverne High School about their gym if we keep going, because it's getting, like I said, it's getting huge. So, and we charge a reasonable price, $5 per couple or per family, and it's for mothers and sons as well, or single parents and their children. So, but it turns out to be a really big deal every year, and it just keeps getting bigger. I can only imagine what would have happened had the weather been nice. We would have been busting at the seams, but it was very successful. We had a blast.
Okay, so my understanding, this is just once a year?
It is.
Have you ever thought about merging in maybe biannually?
Well, it's we could probably
winter and the summer. We
could have another type of dance that I think would probably be equally successful. I don't think we'd necessarily call it daddy-daughter dance, but maybe maybe a family, some kind of family dance or something where everybody. Maybe some people don't come because it's called a daddy-daughter dance. So. That's something we can kick around, but of course we'd have to get a Roy Waldron school to honor that. I was trying to keep going. I thought you was going to get it.
I apologize.
That's okay.
I always turn one off. I just don't turn the other one off.
Now the school lets us use that.
The school, well, it's kind of a mutual agreement thing. We let them borrow our ball fields too for their fall festival, and they have kickball tournaments up there, and we line the fields for them and open the gates, and they get out there and they play kickball all day. So, we do things back and forth. It's a mutual good relationship.
What if we had to go to the high school?
I don't know. I'd have to call the principal over there and just see. But and I would hate to go over there. I would just about say it'd be better for us, because personnel-wise, to just say, okay, we can sell this many tickets, and once they're sold, that's it. That would be probably a more feasible thing for us to do, rather than just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So, but
Was there plenty of space for what you had this time?
It was just about the right amount.
Okay.
It really was. It was packed. Well, we set up tables on the far end of the gym, and then the half of the gym is a dance floor.
Okay.
And I couldn't believe how many people were dancing. It was crazy. They were dancing everywhere. We put the DJ on the stage, and then we set up our tables in the back for refreshments and cookies and drinks and things like that. But it was it was a perfect size for the amount of people we had. Any more, and it might have been too much. And that was with people sitting in the bleachers, So it was packed. So it was very successful.
If that kind of interest is starting to show, then maybe you should consider.
That's something we can definitely kick around. I wouldn't be opposed to that at all. It's not an extremely hard event to plan for. Just getting the flyers and things printed up, and then buying all the stuff that we need for it is, But it's successful, so maybe we can look at some other type of dance.
AC, what about doing if you're going to do them biannual, if you're going to look into that, do it age specific, like do one dance for a certain age group of children, and then do a second dance for like the older children, teens.
No, I don't know how that would go over. I mean, it's not something we can't talk about. I mean, the teens, I don't know. We can definitely look. Oh, I just got a text from Deb. She's not coming to the meeting. Deb's not feeling well. But yeah, I mean, we can look at doing that too. We can try it at least, and if it's not successful, then, you know.
I mean, if you make it a family thing for the teens,
Yeah.
instead of the teens just coming and going wild.
Right. Well, yeah, we certainly don't want that. We don't
No.
have the manpower for that.
Right.
So, I mean, it took us a long time to clean that gymnasium up after they got done. I mean, and we wish that people would throw things away a little bit better, and, you know, but it just doesn't work out that way all the time. So, and then you got a bunch of little kids too. I'm talking about, there were
Right.
daddies there with, I mean, my son-in-law brought his 1.5-year-old, and there were a lot of them running around. So there were a lot of cookies on the floor and mushed cupcakes and things like that. So, but yeah, we can talk about that.
Any other questions, comments? Next, we got the splash pad grant.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on this briefly. I talked with Montique, our grant writer, today. This is the application for the splash pad.
Jeez.
And there are a lot of stipulations and prerequisites that are, I mean, Alderman Jones looked through it. It's almost like they don't want you to get it. You know, there's so many stipulations and rules and regulations and meetings, and it's a lot. But that's how thick it is, and Montique is working on it right now. So, you know, I don't want to be pessimistic about it, but it really seems like a long shot.
Have they determined whether they're gonna be able to actually afford it? I know, what was it, $100,000?
Now, that was set aside for the drawings and for the initial getting it going.
Okay,
But
so,
as far as that, money and any additional, I don't know about that. I'm not sure. I haven't heard.
I just don't see how they can afford to do it and run it too, when we need so much.
Well, and
is Parks gonna be involved in running it?
well, and here's another thing. At some point, they're going to turn that greenway loose on us, and boy, that's going to be a handful, because the way it is right now, not to get off on a greenway subject, but that's gone to the state level now, and they had a meeting between the city, the state, and the contractors. Now they're trying to work out who's going to fix what and when. So that's still just kind of floating around out there. We don't have anything concrete on that yet. So, but at some point, they're going to turn that over to us. And I had the guys mow it and pick up trash down there early on before that flood.
I remember how busy y'all were.
That's
Y'all
an
were
all-day thing.
overwhelmed.
I mean, you put 2 guys down there every day, all day, and for weed eating and cutting bushes back, and especially after a big rain, that is a ton more work for shoveling stuff back off of the trail, and the washouts have to be filled back in. It's a lot of work, but you know, I definitely gonna have to have some more manpower. There's no doubt about
What
that.
did we estimate last time we discussed this? Was it like 4 to 5 more people during
At
the?
least, yeah,
Okay.
easily, and that's not counting if the splash pad goes through. So.
Oh, with the splash pad, what was that gonna be, 6 or 8?
Well, what you'd have to do is you'd have to do maintenance on this, and then you'd have to, during the months that it was open, you'd have to have at least 2 seasonals to run that on 2 shifts during the day, I would think. And that's not counting if you decided you wanted to rent it out for parties and things like that. So it would be, you know, it'd be a lot of extra.
Will there be a couple of times a day? Are you gonna have to have somebody there that's testing the water?
That's something you'd probably have to do, I would think daily. But I don't know that you'd have to do it a couple times a day, but that would be something else that would be on us as a maintenance and a parks department. You'd have to make sure that the water was how it was supposed to be. And a lot of that would depend on, too, what kind of bilge system you put in and whether, the underground tanks, recirculation, and the filters and things like that. There's, different kinds,
There's a
so.
lot to it.
Here's what I've found in Davidson County now. The health department requires that they test like condominium pools, and I don't know about apartment pools, but condominium association pools have to be tested twice a day, once in the morning and once in the evening after the sun goes down, and put on a record book.
Wow.
And it all has to be logged in for when the health department comes to check.
Well, where this is not actually a pool, I don't know if it would be that that extensive, but the water is constantly circulated,
And I
so.
mean, if you're dirty, it's gonna wash the dirt down in, and it's
Yeah.
gonna recirculate dirty water back in
Well,
there.
no, it runs through filters before it comes
Okay.
back out. There's charcoal
Okay, I
systems
thought
and things
about
like
that.
that. Yeah, yeah, it's not running dirty water back out on you. It shouldn't be. If
Okay.
it is, then we need to do something else with it.
You'd also have to consider having
Yeah.
at least 1 or 2 lifeguards there at all times.
Well, that's what I say, you have to have attendance. If the water is not, certain, I think 4 inches or less, you don't necessarily have to have a lifeguard, but you have to have attendance. You have to have somebody there. And then I think they have to be CPR certified too, because,
Yeah.
if somebody falls down, even in 4 inches of water, you breathe that in, you're drowning, so.
Yeah.
But like I said, Montique is working on it, so this is gonna be a slow rolling process, and of course, the board, it's up to the board what we do, how we do it, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? We're moving on to new business, Easter egg hunt, March 24th.
Y'all all know about that. That thing was a mess. Julie has, you buy them eggs yet, Julie?
We'll put in the PO for it today.
8,000 eggs. Isn't that what it was?
Is that gonna be
Yeah.
enough?
Well, it's never enough. If we bought 18,000 eggs, it wouldn't be enough. They just, as soon as you put them down and you go, they're picked up. I mean, I ain't never seen anything like it. Never seen anything like
One
it.
of the things that I think that was briefly discussed, and this is not to sound antisocial, but we might be looking at having to give tickets to residents of Laverne,
Right?
because from our last census, a lot of people are coming in from Antioch. And I'm not saying that we don't want people.
Right.
But when you get thousands of people, then, it gets into a little problem. So.
Well, they do the same thing from Smyrna. Smyrna comes here, Antioch comes here, and then they all go to Smyrna. And I don't know if Antioch has anything, but that's what and we have them at different times, so they hit all of them. So.
I'd rather see them in the county. I mean, I'd rather see it from, I'm thinking about, and, when they give away for the food drive, if you don't have a Davidson County address, you can't go. The coat giveaway, all that stuff.
Right.
So we might have to start looking at, checking addresses.
Yeah.
And giving tickets.
Well, it'd be difficult, but I think we'd have to get probably the police involved as far as, checking tags and things like that. Maybe putting somebody at the front gate, and if you're not a Rutherford County resident, you can't get in.
Oh, no, they can come. It's just that the tickets, when you're standing at the gate.
Yeah.
You have to.
Oh, you mean to go out on the
Go
field?
out.
Yeah, to go,
Give 'em a ticket.
we want the people to come because they might buy food in Laverne and do whatever.
Right.
But we don't, it was just too many of them last year, and there were a lot of fights that almost
Oh,
started.
yeah, there's a lot of pushing and shoving going once you say go.
Is that because of the parents?
I think
A
so.
lot of it is,
Younger age.
a lot of it is. The parents, they're just as bad. Once you say go, it's like their kids again, and they go running too.
Can't you rope the parents off somehow or another?
Well, what we did last
After
year-
the children are like
we
maybe
left- we
7
made
or
the
8 or
parents-
9 years old.
We made the parents
Don't-
stay outside the gate last year.
Well.
So this last year was the best year so far because only the kids were on the field.
Okay.
Parents in the past have been pushing and shoving. That's why we made them stay outside the gate this past year.
I had a terrible experience in Smyrna when I first moved there in I think it was 1994, 95. A parent actually took our Easter basket.
Well,
My son
Well-
had dropped some stuff and I was picking it up. I set the basket down and I was
Oh, yeah.
picking the stuff up. I turned around, the parent picked it up. So,
Yeah.
I mean, they can be mean. And my son was only like 3, so I just think if we can keep, and unless the kids aren't able to walk out there themselves
They
and
do,
take
they
care
do,
of
Debbie,
themselves.
They come out.
yeah.
We keep
We-
the-
we
keep
only-
the parents behind the field.
We don't even let them on the field.
Okay.
Unless
We let
it's
the
the
kids out.
young kids. Of
I'm
course,
out
we
there
have to let
looking.
them out with them, but 0 to 4 or something like that.
Well, who's fighting then?
Well, nobody did this past year. The kids are pushing and shoving, but the year before, the parents were really
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
So that's why they don't get on the field anymore.
Okay.
So, but this last year was the best one we've had so far. I mean, it was also one of the biggest attendances, but it was, as far as orderly, if you can say orderly in a situation like that, it was the best one we had. I mean, Alderman Jones was there. You seen it was,
Between those
man,
fields up there.
Control
And the
chaos.
parents,
yeah, chaos is right.
it's all filled up with people. And kids are they're coming in all at the same time. When we're trying to get the kids out on the field, there's kids at that age need to get out there. parents are in the way.
What
I mean,
is in those eggs? I might need to come.
It's,
What are
need
you
to come
putting in
up
the
there.
eggs?
believe me, it's not all that.
Is it
Little-
gold nuggets or
little
what?
spider rings and,
Yeah.
it's not really anything impressive, but it's
No,
just a
but-
matter of picking them up and the excitement of it, I guess.
Getting the most eggs and getting the prize. and
Right.
all that stuff.
Something else I'll tell you that we started doing is we set aside a certain amount of eggs for the little kids
That
who
don't
come off
get
the
enough.
field and are crying and didn't get eggs.
That's a
And then
good
we let
idea.
them come over to the tent and make sure that they get something too.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
What kind of prizes and where do you get the prizes from?
Well, we get a lot of the prizes donated. Most of the prizes are what the big Easter baskets, Julie, and, yeah.
We usually put those together.
Yeah, we put them together. She builds them. She buys all the
okay.
stuff and puts in it and makes the basket and puts the colored paper around it, and they always look
They
great.
always look so pretty.
Yeah, they do. And then the police department's very instrumental in helping us too. They donate eggs, and sometimes I think they donate some prizes too.
Okay.
Now,
It's always
Julia
been good.
always does a great job.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah, she
everything
does.
She does.
Yep.
She
Yep.
does a great job.
Yep.
And I'm not just saying that, it's the
Yeah.
truth.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great event.
Yeah, she does a great job.
Any further questions, comments? Music in the Park, April 27th, the Hoffman Band.
The Hoffman Band. He's the drummer, right? Julie Bruce Amato?
Bruce Amato's the drummer.
Wasn't he here before? They've been here before?
He's a magician. as
Yes.
He's also a
Yes.
magician at the library
Right,
and
the
does some
library,
things like
right.
that.
Yeah.
He's the drummer though, but the Hoffman Band, I've seen them on YouTube. I've not seen them live, but they're really good.
Yeah,
So
they are good.
they're going to do the music in the park that night.
Good.
And that's in the football field.
No, that will be by Pavilion B.
All the way to the back in the woods.
All the way back next to Pavilion B. We got that concrete slab out there.
Yeah.
They'll set up on that slab, and then we'll pull bleachers down, and people can bring lawn chairs and sit up on the slope of the hill and watch them.
And the city usually has, or the Parks and Rec usually has ice cream and.
We'll do drinks and chips
Yeah,
and things
chips
like
and
that,
things
maybe
like
some hot
that,
dogs or
yeah.
something,
Yeah.
just, yeah. And a lot of it depends on the weather too.
Right.
If it doesn't look like it's gonna rain, we can do more, but we gotta be careful, so, but yeah,
Snow cones.
yeah. Well,
My
we'll,
favorite.
Okay, one of the, I'll just make a note of that, Ball League.
yeah, the Ball League, I just want to touch on that real quick. We've met with the Ball League and talked back and forth, and we just got to get them to sign the user agreement, and it's in place and it's ready to go. They've actually started sign-ups, so that's rolling and it's on its way. So I just wanted to let y'all know that.
That cleared through Evan.
This year.
Huh?
It cleared Evan.
Frankie Sliger and his wife are in charge of it. What's that?
Evan. He cleared it.
Yeah.
That was the only part that we were waiting.
Yep.
Inline hockey bleachers.
Yeah, that's a big that is a big maintenance thing for us.
Yeah.
Those bleachers been out there for a long time on that metal structure, and the guys pulled all the wood and took the stairs off of it because everything was starting to get in bad shape. So we have asked for quotes on it. We had people come in and look at it, and they gave us bids. And it's on the next agenda as a discussion item. It's gonna cost $10,000 to get it fixed. And that's just the structure. Then we are gonna put the wood back on ourselves. But it's gonna be way better than it was before because we're going back up around it with chain link, and it'll probably be good long after we're all gone. So, once we get it done.
Would it-
But Youth Incorporated did say they would go in halves with us on the wood for the bleachers and things like that. So, which is good. I mean, it's a big deal. And they've been very patient, and they are a fantastic nonprofit organization. They're great to work with. We've never had any issues with them. They're clean and they're respectful, and they call when they need something, and their communication is great.
Been here for years.
Yeah.
Yep, and they're really good. And the two guys running it now, well, Andy Lyons is the head of it now, and he's great to work with. He's always willing to help and do whatever he can. I mean, the work they did on the inline hockey ring a few months back, I bet you they had to have spent $5,000 on resurfacing that thing, at least, maybe more, and that makes us look good, and it helps us because at some point we would have to do it if they didn't, but they did it. So. And now they're going to do reconstruction on the concession stand, and they're doing that themselves. So but and he called me today, as a matter of fact, and said, just letting you know, we're gonna get started on that tomorrow. And I said, okay. We'll be out with the census, but for the most part, you know, they're really good to work with. So, and I'll just give y'all an update on that as it moves forward after y'all talk about it at the next Mayor Alderman workshop, and we go from there. And if we can get approval on it, we'll go ahead and have them do the work and get the planks back on it as quick as possible.
I had a question, if I'm not out of order, about the Veterans Wall.
Yeah.
Remember when we first started that, before it was even put up, we talked about security cameras.
Matter of fact, we met in the park with Glenn from IT, I want to say 2 weeks ago, and we walked the whole park. We're looking at, I think the guys were talking about fiber optic, I'm not positive, but that'll probably be on the next agenda as well. We were talking about digging a trench. It has to start up at the Parks and Rec building and run all the way down. So we're looking at putting cameras in the ball complexes and down around hockey and all up in the front of the park, so that the cameras, instead of just seeing somebody committing a crime or you know, vandalism, if we can, I mean, we can see it. The cameras we have now will show that to you, but you can't identify anybody off of it, you know. So, you know, we just met about it a couple weeks ago, so I know that there's some things in the works they're talking about doing.
So will one be at the Veterans Wall?
Well, I don't know for sure specifically yet, but once we find out about the cost and everything else, I can definitely say that, you know, I would like to have some up there.
Yeah, because we've had quite a bit of vandalism there, you know.
Where, up at the wall?
Well, since you started, they broke out those expensive lights.
Well, yeah, they did do that. They did that right off the bat. But they've been good here lately.
Stole some flags,
Yep, that was like the first couple of weeks too. Yeah, they did that.
broke some tiles off.
But you know what we did? We raised the cleats up, so now they'd have to bring a ladder if they're gonna steal the flags.
I think put barbed wire up them poles.
You
Wrap it in
can't
barbed
do
wire.
that.
Why not?
You can't do that.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's something else. That's like the splash pad thing. It's a slow moving thing, but we'll see, you know, if that's an approval for getting all that stuff ran and getting, you know, lights and everything down, or cameras down the front of the park, maybe we can make sure that they mount one down there right on the wall. But it's been good here lately, so I'm really pleased about that.
We've had cold, rainy weather too.
Yeah, yeah.
I think everything else happened.
Well, they were all out in the park. The park was full today.
Yeah.
Kids out of school and a nice day. It was packed.
Now, I've noticed when I've taken the little one up there to the park that there's quite a few people at the Veterans Honor Park.
Yeah,
So, you know.
there's a lot of people that enjoy the wall. I see them down there all the time.
It turned out beautiful.
I'm so glad. I couldn't be prouder of that. That is awesome, you know. And plus with the name Veterans Memorial, it couldn't be, I mean, it's perfect.
Yeah.
And done in record time?
Yeah,
And done in record time?
yep, yeah, for sure.
Hey, see, I don't know if y'all, if you and your staff do this administratively, but one of the, and this, you know, it's probably nothing that you could just come up with right away, but when we've got a set date on an event, if, like with the Daddy Daughter Dance in the Rain, if you can have an alternate date, you know, like we did. I know some things you won't be able to do.
Right.
For instance, if this band is booked for this day, then we won't be able to do that. But just in case, we need to have an alternate date. So, you know.
And if it's something feasible, we do. If it's like the music in the park, sometimes we'll try to book an alternate, you know, rain out date. But a lot of it comes down to, are they available on that rain out
Right,
date, or when
right.
it's good for us, and we have to meet their schedule as far as like the Daddy Daughter Dance. I don't know that that Roy Waldron would say, yeah, you can have it next weekend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, we always like to ask and
Yeah.
see if we can do that. We try to do that.
Yeah. And then the, what else was there? Oh, just as an administrative part of the, for the board, one of the things that we're going to do as of today, since this is our first official meeting, we are going to start doing attendance to the meetings. If an individual, I mean, I understand that there are unforeseen circumstances that do come up. If you cannot make the meeting in 2 consecutive meetings, then we're going to, and there's not justification for it, then we're gonna remove you from the board. We're also, we've got empty seats here right now, and we're going to fill those seats because there are people out there that are asking about getting on boards, and one of the mandates that has come up is we've got this. Everyone's always wanting to, have input, and this is a good way to do it. So we're going to start opening up, and we're going to be a little bit more aggressive in trying to recruit people to come to the meetings and participate, because this is what we need in the board. The next meeting will be March 19th at 6 p.m., which will be a workshop. And a workshop is treated the same way as a meeting. One of the reasons for the workshop is so the meeting won't run over, because we can have all of the open discussions at the workshop. Right. And all of our exhibits and things can come at that time, and you can ask questions. Also, if we need to bring in a subject matter expert, that we bring the individual in and ask them questions, so we can go straight into our meetings and clear out our meetings. Also, if at this time, if there's anyone on the board that would like to have any closing remarks. Sir?
No, I just hope everybody have a great year. I missed the January meeting.
Oh,
I
was
think I
here.
was here in February, but anyway, just one of them was. And I hope that 2018 we can accomplish some of the things that we talk about that we haven't done in previous years, and I won't bring nothing up. But hope things that we talk about, that we can kind of fulfill them. I know a lot of it is money involved, and we have to get grants for it. And I know from being here as long as I've been here, that it takes a lot of time and a lot of work. And just like he's showing there, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't want to be negative about it.
And that's the way I feel about it too. I mean,
I just don't, and I have never seen it or anything,
Yeah.
but I just don't. If I was here, I would have voted against it as far as the board, taking it to the meeting. I wasn't here when they approved it, but I hope that there are some other smaller things that we can do. Get some grants. I know we had grants here before for the sidewalks. I don't know if there's any money left on that. That's previous administration.
about what, the sidewalks?
Sidewalks.
Oh, I don't know about that,
You know, I don't know if there's any money left in it.
right?
I
Yeah, that's
don't know if there's
out of my
any way you can
department.
check.
I could ask Phyllis, But usually, everything rolls over for a new year. There's not money just sitting in a, once it's a new budget every year, it starts all over. So
Did we complete everything in the sidewalk?
that I don't know. That'd be more of a codes question, or yeah.
Well, the Parks and Recreation was involved in it.
In what, sidewalks?
Yep. Yeah,
How's that?
yeah, we were.
Where at?
Huh?
You mean at the park?
Right here.
No, I mean, which sidewalks?
The sidewalks from Murfreesboro Road down to here, the one on Stones River Road,
Oh, yeah, because of the greenway and everything going in, right?
and all that. That was all done through the parks.
I'm totally drawing a blank on that.
It was. I mean, I was there on the board.
Do you
Okay.
remember what year it was? We can look it up on the
Yeah, when was that?
YouTube.
Yeah.
Been a while back?
Yeah, it's been
Okay.
It was before the Veterans Wall
Might have been
started
before
being
my
put.
time or right when I came
before
in.
your time.
Oh, okay, all right, that's why I don't remember it.
Let's see. What's his
Robin, okay, Robin.
Robin
had
Grubb,
something.
yeah.
Yeah, that was before my time.
Robin
Okay.
Grubb.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And following up on something that Bob has said, I don't want people to be confused and think that the members of the Parks and Rec Committee actually have a vote on these things like the water park and everything, because clearly there's many of us that are against it. But
All you can do is make a favorable or unfavorable recommendation that I can take before the board. That's it.
okay, so was there any kind of a recommendation from the last meeting?
we haven't met in so long, it's been a while. So, no.
Yeah, I had a death in the family, and then the next meeting, I had a call at the last minute, and I had to go to Music Row, and you want to fight that traffic coming back from down there, oh my goodness.
Right.
But what I wanted to say is, I think the Parks and Rec are doing an awesome job at everything that they've got on their plate, and it just really concerns me to add something more on their plate on top of the Greenway, which they're going to be short-staffed on anyway. And I'm just concerned that they're going to be super short-staffed, and I don't want you guys out there having a heart attack, you know, trying to do
I would not do
more
that myself, but
than what you can. And I don't know if they're going to have in the budget for 5 or 6 new employees for Parks and Rec, if we get.
yeah, I don't know. We'll see. The budget workshop or retreat is next month, so, or actually, yeah, it's in March, so
Okay.
we'll see. I'm putting together the presentation for that now.
AC, how did the Martin Luther King Day turn out?
It turned out really good. We had a good crowd for that. You know, and there's always other ceremonies going around on that day. Nashville's got a big deal, and Murfreesboro's got some stuff. And we don't want that to get so huge that we can't have it in a nice, quiet, you know, quaint little meeting area. In here is just fine, but you know, we may have to get a few more chairs at some point. But it's been good. It's been just about the right size. So,
11, it's on the 11th,
what's that?
11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that it?
I think Mary's having mudslide parties for Parks and Rec people down at her place.
That's what I heard.
Bring a raft.
Again, next meeting is going to be March 19th. No other questions. This meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.